We just don't like semi-finals. Hello, welcome to Let's Talk Sport, and you're here for the match reaction of Manchester United 0, Manchester City 2 in the Carabao Cup semi-finals. And I'll be honest with you, as you could probably tell with the shirt I'm wearing, I'm absolutely thrilled. No, of course not. No, that's the fourth semi-final in a row that we have lost. And of course, everyone will say it's under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Yes, of course. And that's where the blame will get thrown in. And to an extent, I can understand why. But tonight was just shit. It was one of those, wasn't it, where it wasn't a beautiful game to watch. Both sides were not that great. Man City had that wonderful win at Chelsea back on Sunday, which made me quite nervous ahead of this fixture. And I must admit, before the game, I wasn't sure we'd be the favourites. According to Bet365, we were on the odds, but not really sure why after the performance City did against Chelsea, while United, for me, this season, have not had a performance like that yet to prove that they are one of the best in the league right now, because the table will tell you that, but I don't know. I just had a feeling United were going to lose in the semis again, and it's happened too often now. 4 in a row is just really annoying. It's like Jimmy White being in 7, or was it 6 World Championship finals in a row in the snooker, and he lost all 6 of them. Just imagine that feeling. It hurts more and more the more times you lose at that stage, and it's the same for United for the semi-finals. And yeah, I'm just gutted. Man City, as I said, they weren't the best tonight, but they were clinical. They scored from 2 set pieces. First goal being from John Stones, who, by the way, who's had a great season. Despite all the criticism, even from myself and others, in the last few years since he joined Man City from Everton, he's finally looking like to be paid off now as a defender for Man City, because he looks fresh. He looks up for it. He looks up for a challenge in the box as a defender, and I'm sure Vincent Kompany's been following him and has been proud of him wherever he's at the moment. If he's still at Anderlecht, I'm not sure, but yeah, he scored the opening goal, and then Fernandinho with a great volley, I think it was in the late in the game from a poor Wan-Bissaka clearance. But look, Man City took the chances and they scored. And as for United, the only chance I can remember from us was our best player on the pitch, and has always been since we signed him, which was Bruno Fernandes with a strike that was well saved by the City keeper. But I don't know. It's just a really frustrating game. I just look at it and think, if to be honest, I was hoping before the lineups were announced, I would have started out by as a centre back with Harry Maguire. I think in the last 2 games at least, he's proven to be, the centre back that we've always seen in him when he's up to it. Sadly, he's an injury prone, so for the last 4 years he's been hit and miss as one of our players. But in the last 2 games, he proved to be in the starting lineup for me. Let's not forget the Keenan Davis block he did against Villa on the last minute back on Friday, which, if that had gone in, United wouldn't be joint top as we speak. So, but then instead Solskjaer plays Lindelof again, which, look, I get Lindelof is a regular centre-back for us, but I don't think he has much to stand on at the moment as a centre-back. Harry Maguire is hit and miss for me as well, but I'd rather play Harry Maguire without Bayern. I think them two together in the last couple of games have shown that they can be strong in defence and that we can have a bit of a defensive line. But tonight just looked floppy again. Even Wan-Bissaka had moments tonight, but I don't normally criticise Wan-Bissaka. I rate him quite a lot, and Luke Shaw is not everyone's cup of tea, but I don't think he did too badly either. I just think, sadly tonight, again, Maguire and Lindelof shown that they can't do it together. And I'm starting to think that, as much as I love Solskjaer as a manager, he needs to get more ruthless about his decision making and not be afraid to make it. Because that's the difference between a good and a great manager, you could say, where the ones that win normally make the hardest decisions and it pays off. And I think that's what Solskjaer needs to do in the next game. We've got Watford next, and I don't know who he's going to start. What FA Cup game is normally you'd normally rest some of your main players to play some of your second team players. So like Van der Beek, I'd imagine will start. I'd imagine Outby will start. Maybe Tuanzebe, but Tuanzebe again, I think he deserves a shout in defence. He's not been poor. let's not forget that PSG game. Let's go back to that, where after they beat PSG at their grounds, Tuanzebe was probably the man of the match, and then Solskjaer didn't play him in the next game, which it's kind of like, well, what do you have to do to be in the starting lineup? What I'm trying to say is I think Solskjaer needs to go against some of his traditions and make changes now and again, because tonight Fred McTominay weren't great. Fred's giving the ball away too much for me and has not much awareness, and that's not good enough. For McTominay, he was quiet. But then let's talk about the front line of Martial and Rashford. Rashford, he's had a great season. He didn't have a great game tonight. It wasn't for him tonight, the game. But Martial again. I can't stress how much I want the guy out of the club. Martial is a player that people will keep referencing from last season and say he is awesome. Like he was one of our top goal scorers last season. Jamie, he deserves to start every game. I'm not seeing it. I'm not convinced by Anthony Martial. I've not been convinced since his debut for United, which was 5 years ago against Liverpool, which, yes, it was a great goal. I had no idea what to expect from him. And I thought maybe we have signed a good player. But you know what? Since then, I just don't think he's consistent. I don't know what he brings to the pitch. The front line tonight of United was absolutely abysmal. There was just nothing there. Just nothing there throughout the game. There was lots of parts in that game when City, opening first few minutes in the first half, when De Bruyne hit the post, not on a normal day that would have gone in. I don't know why that didn't go in. But City had moments when they were on the back foot and they were open for us to attack. And I think they did well, City, in terms of they frustrated us, but we just didn't show any effort. And it's just a frustrating defeat, because it didn't feel like City were convincing tonight. It just felt like they did what they had to do to get to the final, which is a typical Pep Guardiola win, if you ask me, because that's what he's good at. But yeah, I just don't... It's worrying now because of the fact that there's been 4 semi-finals in a row. Is this squad good enough to win big matches? I'm not confident to say yes, because there's no games to tell you that they can. Leipzig in the last group stage game, we got battered, and then we got 2 goals back, which doesn't really matter. We still went out. We had to just avoid defeat that night, and we didn't show up till the last 10 minutes. The Europa League semi against Seville, which that was defensive problems again. And we just didn't take the chances, and we only scored because of a penalty that night. And the FA Cup against Chelsea, which again was not a pretty semi-final at all. Chelsea weren't great, but they did it. The mistakes from De Gea got them the win. And everyone can use that as an excuse about De Gea and say, oh, it's just a mistake, it happens. But is that just to prove that they're not good enough when it's a big occasion? Are they too scared? Are they too nervous? Are they not prepped enough? I don't know. But it's getting to that point where, sadly, in the big games, we're not showing it. I don't know if this is a manager problem. Is this a squad problem? Because I was watching the game when we conceded the first goal. It felt like the Klopp of his first season at Liverpool, where, in all fairness to Klopp, he joined in, October of the season, so he couldn't sign anyone when he started. He had to deal with what he had in front of him. And he was in the Europa League final that season, and the League Cup final, which for a first season at Liverpool was pretty decent. And I think it took him those 2 finals and the Champions League final in 2018 to kind of realise that there's certain departments that need improving, because you haven't got the squad that could do it in the biggest game of the season. What did he do? He needed a defender. He signed Van Dijk. Van Dijk, big improvement, changed it completely for the back line for them the moment he joined them. And then what happened in the 2018 Champions League final? Well, we all know what happened. Karius made those 2 big, simple mistakes, which said to me, you can't do it on the big stage. And what does he do? Was ruthless. And he got Alisson in that summer. What happened? The following season, they win the Champions League. Alisson had no problems in that final. Van Dijk was in defence. They nailed it. Following season, they win the Premier League. Nailed it. And it hurts me as a United fan to say that, but it feels like that with United a little bit, where we're nearly there. We're nearly there in terms of we are joint top at the moment. Yes, there's so many games to go, but this is the best we've been at the top since Fergie left. So you can't tell me we're not going in the right direction. There's just little things here and there that's just not working. And that says to me there's some players that have had their chance and it's not working out. And that's why Solskjaer needs to be ruthless. Lindelof and Martial are two examples. Pogba, I'm not going to criticise him that much tonight. I think he got his foot in, he got involved, I don't think there was much more he could have done. It was one of those games. But Pogba is still on that boat for me of they need to go. They need to leave the shores because it's not working. So that's just how I feel. Where you look at the last few years of what's happening with other teams around you and how they've improved, and that's what Liverpool did. The recruitment for what they needed worked, and I feel like we're United. It's a shame Edison Cavani wasn't on tonight. I find the whole ban with what happened within there, I kind of disagree with it, but of course there's two sides to it. I don't know. But we missed him. We really missed him because you can't beat the experience of a centre forward when it comes to being in the right position and having a shot at goal now and again to just challenge the goalkeeper. And that was the other thing, we just didn't challenge their second goalkeeper. Neither did City, and this is what I mean. It's just a frustrating defeat because if we'd just tried and just created more, we could have had at least a goal. I don't know. But City closed us down and they got the win. And they were clinical. They scored goals out of nowhere, but they got the goals when it mattered. And it doesn't matter. You win. You go through to the final. So well done to City. It's much late to say it. But again, it still frustrates me when you look at the last 10 years or so. City are winning bigger things than United at the moment. And it's frustrating to me because it's easy to have hindsight and look at it and think, well, where are we at the moment? As I've said, we're slowly building in the right direction, I feel, under Solskjaer. The league will tell you that. We still need to have a team that's big enough, that's good enough in the big games. But you look at how United have been recruiting and how City have been recruiting and all that in the last 7 years. City have nailed it. They've had moments, but they've still won trophies. And there was a United fan I was talking to watching the game tonight saying, oh, they'll just go and win the League Cup this season. At least it's a fucking trophy. We haven't won a trophy. It'll be at least 4 years this year if we don't win anything. That would have been since we last won the Europa League. So, we haven't got much to stand on, have we? Especially compared to Leicester, who've won the Prem since we last won it. Says it all, doesn't it? But I just look at it and you think, the club as a whole have got to be disappointed because they've let City take over and being more successful over the last few years. And this is why I'll always back Solskjaer, even Mourinho before him, because it's like the whole club has to take responsibility. It's not just the manager, it's who's ever recruiting the players, who's ever putting the money in or whatever. It's such a frustrating time. But, as I said, United, I still think we need a decent centre-back. I still think we need another centre-forward. I think Martial and Lindelof need to go. They're the first that need to go for me. And I just think Solskjaer needs to be ruthless. But, again, FA Cup maybe. We'll see. Europa League, we'll see. Of course, long season ahead. Premier League maybe. You never know. Maybe this is a blessing in disguise. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. And, of course, let us know your thoughts of that match in the comments below.